a man who needs no introduction in my book anyway, Reverend Kim Do-Hyun from KoRoot Guest House and NGO, and it's such a pleasure to see you here. I'm so happy that you were able to join us.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Do-Hyun Kim. I'm running the KoRoot Guest House, at the same time NGO, since 2004.
It's a pleasure having you at our seminar today, and for me personally, it's been such an honor to work with you over the years. You've been such a great ally to our community, and so I hope that can continue as well. So I'm just going to get into the first question that I have for you, and that because you've been such a tireless advocate, you know, as you stated, KoRoot was established in 2004, already almost 20 years, 18 years. It's amazing to think about that time passage. Would you share with us, with our audience, what was your role, and maybe at large, what was KoRoot's role in these special adoption law revisions leading up to 2011? And if you want to talk about what happened between 2011 and 2015, 16, you're welcome to do that. But I just want you to share with people, how did KoRoot get involved? How did you get involved specifically in the special adoption law revisions?
I'm a kind of facilitator and assister, I thought, because I didn't actually take this with my kind of first idea. I'm doing this one, but it's not always I'm following what you are saying. It means the first time Bunyoung and Jane come to me, go to Gongam together with us. Then I found there some small role. It was if there is some communication issue between Korean culture and Westerners' expression and perspective, something. That's why I involved a little explanation. What's the matter? That is what I did, and then you know we at KoRoot has a good facility itself. That's why people come to KoRoot basement. We call it the Truth and Reconciliation Underground. The name is actually come from my mind, but it is the place the people are discussing about special adoption law. I think it is more than 8 months, maybe every second week people come to. And what I did, I try to help the people, assist the people to understand special adoption law, which is written in Korean. If Dr. Hwang Pil-gyu is not coming, then the duty is come to me to translate it. Anyway, we discussed it, and at the end, anyway, the bill brought to the parliament, and there's also some discussion. Sometimes, kind of Korean speaker, I was a little bit, let me to go there. People told me to go there and fight for us, but I usually failed because the request of adopted people voice is so clear, but resistance from adoption agency governmental officers are so reluctant. Even some scholars are opposing my kind of voice or opinion is destroyed by those people, always having kind of the difficulties and come back home and tell to person, oh, I failed, I'm sorry. That is my role.
Well, I certainly, you know, having been involved, attended many of those meetings myself, I would say, you know, I certainly would not use the word fail to describe your contribution. But one of the things I wanted to point out that I remember at that time, you, Reverend Kim, always emphasizing that you wanted change in this 2011 revision that ended up passing. And again, it has to do with language. And so one of the things I really vividly remember you always saying was that you wanted to get rid of this language at the time that said, and I quote, "The act of special cases concerning the promotion and procedure of adoption." So this key word at that time was the word promotion. And I remember, Reverend Kim, that you were very adamant on wanting to get rid of that word promotion of adoption, which we succeeded at doing. And so can you talk with us a little bit? Why was that so important for you? How did you feel about getting that wording to be totally rephrased?
Anyway, I have been I lived in Switzerland for 9 years and 3 years more in the UK before I came to KoRoot. And in between 12 years, I have been spending time together with adopted people. And also, until you mentioned, before I met the adopted people, and I have also having a glowing image of adoption. But it is broken already while I was sitting together adopted people in Switzerland. From the beginning, it was a shocking part. And what I learned is what is the basic essential experience of adoptees. They told me it is separation and loss. And that is my basic learning. And come back to Korea, and I found Korean society is occupied by the glowing image of adoption, and they want to promote it. They want to do something good to do. Those general conception, perception of the society is, how do I say, making me so annoying. And promotion comes from the glowing image of adoption, but the reality of adoption was different. The people's experience is true experience is separation loss. Regardless of our adopted people are having a good life, successful life, although they told very clearly saying separation loss is my main kind of part. I'm managing it well, but it is the main part of my life. That's why the Korean government and society and adoption agency and even governmental officers are occupied by the glowing image of adoption. This is actually a matter because it is a promoting power comes from this fantasy. And promotion is easily saying the society how beautiful it is. But I thought this is really a kind of demonic presence. It is kind of images presence. The breaking down the image is the way of the terminology promotion take it away. And it was successfully actually done. Even I was sitting together with discussion with many pro-adoption scholars, always pointing out we have to remove the idea and conception and notion of people in society, this promotion away. That is, but they proceeded partially, and at the end it was removed. Anyway, it is not only me, but the adopted people wrote a lot of articles on the newspaper, and they expressed right away too. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to say how Reverend Kim has been such an important ally to us in promoting, as he was saying, also as a kind of bridge, but really in times when we were having these special adoption law meetings, we were very dependent on having an interpreter for us. I'm certainly by no means fluent in Korean at all. And so when there were times that we needed some interpretation to happen in all of these various meetings, in addition to actually having the law itself be translated, Reverend Kim was such an integral part of that experience for us. And I know when I attended meetings, I relied on him very much. And it's a kind of burden for you too, but I think you did it with very much grace, and our community certainly appreciates all of your efforts. And so that kind of brings me to my next question for you, because you are such a prominent ally to our community, especially with running KoRoot as a guest house, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, and maybe some of you have even stayed at over the years. And so, you know, your counsel, the time that you spend talking to everybody that stays at KoRoot, and just, I think a lot of people who have stayed at KoRoot have really become politicized after having discussions with you. I know, in fact, that that has happened. And so I'd like you to talk a little bit about how has it been for you trying to find a balance with being involved politically in something like the adoption law reform, and then just all of these personal relationships that you've made and continue to foster over the years with individual adoptees who come through the guest house or for whatever reasons. How do you balance this, like your activism with organizations versus your personal relationships with adoptees? So let's, yeah, I'll
The question is very difficult to try to answer. Anyway, the running a guest house in Seoul, it was an amazing part of my life, because I was sitting together with people and drinking together, sometimes wine, but not soju, because of my reluctance to drink soju. But 맥주, or we are sitting together and having talk always in many different subjects about Korea or history. But at the end, all these people are talking about adoption issues. And I learned so much from people and individual personal story too. It makes me actually, it stored up in my mind, in my soul, a lot of sadness and anger too. That is my situation. But I want to become anyway, I'm myself is a kind of party person, you know. I'm not going to the dancing party or somewhere, but at KoRoot, we are sitting together, always and enjoying to have a talk, regardless of the people's political stance about adoption issues, but simply sit together and enjoying the life itself. Maybe it's the right answer or not, but I was enjoying to be there. I never. Anyway, I hope the people are not told too much from me. Sometimes I told about adoption issues from my experience, from my perspective, a little aggressive, you know, my understanding is a little too critical sometimes. That's why some people were not happy or to listen to those kind of perspective. I don't know, but mostly people agreed, understanding well. Anyway, maybe it's not right answer.
Yeah, thank you so much for your words. I think for those of you who might have ever visited KoRoot or had the opportunity to stay there, I think that part of just having discussions with you, sharing community, late nights, maybe drinking some alcoholic beverages, you know, good times. But I think so much comes out of those discussions, and sometimes they're difficult conversations, for sure. Not only, I think we all know how difficult it is to visit Korea as an adopted person, and KoRoot, from what I've heard, you know, is just has been so important to our community as a space where people can stay, and it's just, you know, been great.